ways are you sharing your own self mastery journey right
I've
now?
started, well, earlier, before, if you're joining us on Instagram, we were chatting about podcasts and videos and where we started. And it's been a journey and a half. I started originally in treatment. Like I was in the program. I was in a 9-week program. I mentioned that earlier, where it sounds silly, but they're like there was rules I mentioned, like chore rules and in bed by midnight kind of rules. But
Yeah.
then there was like a no internet rule, like no cell phone rule.
Mm-hmm.
And except from like 5 p.m. until like 11 p.m. or something, I can't remember. So between that window of small sliver of time, I did have my phone, but there was no Wi-Fi. That's that kind of a place. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So with that, I would get my phone after not having it for like 20 hours. And then I would like, okay, I need to share my experience. I need to do something. And what I'm about to say sounds weird, but I didn't tell anybody I was going to treatment. I didn't tell any of my friends I was going to rehab.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell any of my friends that I suffered from alcoholism and I had a problem with alcohol or other drugs, and I didn't own up to it. I told all my friends I was going on vacation,
Mm-hmm.
and I was hoping they would forget after 2 weeks because everyone thinks of vacation as 2 weeks. I'm like, it'll be fine. People
Yeah.
won't forget. 9 weeks, they don't even notice. No, no. The opposite happened. People were asking
Yeah.
questions. They're like, where's Jason? I can't, where has he been? It's been more than 2 weeks. Where did he go? And with nobody being told anything,
Right.
it created the opposite effect of what I was hoping for. And what I think about 2 or 3 weeks in the treatment, I ended up saying, I need to start documenting the process.
Mm.
I need to start, and I wasn't creating like a journal where it's like day 45. Today I went to a meeting. Like I didn't document that. It was more of like, here's the snippet that carried with me today. Here's the
Yeah.
phrase that resonated with me the most. And I didn't um, post that on Facebook for means of drawing attention to it. I didn't want my friends to see this cryptic blog scrolling wall of text that didn't tell them anything. I didn't want that for my friends who were
Mm-hmm.
already curious about what I was going through, but I also
Mm-hmm.
wasn't in a position to bring that into their life. And I wasn't in a position to share that with them yet. So I started a
Mm-hmm.
Facebook page, and this is my first page. I haven't really talked about it, but I called it Make Someone's Day. Something silly, something fun. And every
Yes.
day I would post, hey, and it wasn't like a pro recovery statement, but it was more of a statement, like a blurb, like the cheesy quotes we talked about earlier, like the cheesy
Yes.
text.
Yes.
That's, and I had posting like, rather than fear making decisions for me, what if I made decisions based out of gratitude?
Mm-hmm.
Send. And then that would go up on the text. And then the next day I would have another one and then another one. And then
Yeah.
pretty soon, by the time I finished treatment in 9 weeks, those cheesy quotes went from 0 followers up to 4,000 followers. And
Yeah.
there was no aim, there was no advertising, there
Yeah.
was just posting those kinds of
Yeah.
things. And they're just cheesy quotes. I got out of treatment, I completed my program, I went back to work, and I felt like I'd become a whole new person. And when
Yeah.
I got introduced back into the workforce, once I got back into like hugging my friends and seeing them and smiling and dancing and giving high fives, I was back in work and somebody was giving me a hug and they're like, Jason, I missed you so much. It's so good to see you. Then they leaned in and they whispered, don't worry, your secret is safe with me. And
Mm.
that crushed me, like that
Mm.
feeling of like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, hold on, let's back
Yeah.
this up. Nobody knew. And I was like, okay, wait, okay, hold on. No, there were 3 people that knew. It was this person. And then pretty
Mm.
soon my fear is creeping in. I'm now sound
Mm.
enough to identify like these emotions I'm feeling are now driven out of anxiety. And I'm starting to be filled now
Right.
with anger, frustration, resentment. These are 3
Mm-hmm.
things that don't have place in my life.
Right.
I need to change that. And I didn't know how to do it. And I was like, okay, I no longer know who knows what. I no longer know. I no
Yeah.
longer feel in control. I no longer feel like I'm controlling my message. I don't feel who else knows. Like I started questioning like which
Right.
of those three close people broke the silence. And I didn't like that.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
didn't want that. So I decided to do something completely different. And then I was like, I'm just going to share everything. I'm going
Yeah.
to go, I'm going to take
Right.
my phone. I'm going to go live. I'm going to do Instagram posts. I'm going to do the thing. One day in the future, I'm going to do a blog and maybe a podcast. Years later, here we are. And now I'm like, I need to share everything. How I'm
Mhm.
feeling, what I'm doing, what I've done, my wins, my
Yeah.
losses. And then in doing that, it creates more of a people. And it was really interesting the kind of responses I would get. But it's cathartic. It's healthy. It's happy. It's
Mhm.
fulfilling for me. It rejuvenates
Mhm.
me. It recharges me.
Mhm.
Not like just the sharing of your message, but like the impact it can give and the responses you get from people. I'm sure you know, like from the work you do, the
Mhm.
praises you get in response.
Mhm.